So I hear this thing in Selma, and it's what the new teachers get to do. We didn't get to do it, but they call them Turpin tours. Why
Yeah,
is that?
Turpin's tours. Well, it's been a long time ago when I started doing that. And it seemed like the district office people, the superintendent, the assistant superintendent, they wanted to familiarize the new teachers with the whole district. So they were trying to decide, something they could do. And I said, well, why don't you just have the new teachers after you have your back to school breakfast, which is what they did in those days. The new teachers met in the mornings. Now they go after lunch, and it's really hot. So I would like to see them do it in the mornings again. But anyway, I said, you know what? If you get the school bus over here, and after we have our breakfast, I'll take these teachers on a tour of the whole district. And they said, okay. They agreed to that. And I know I did it before Dr. Blancett came, and he came after Mr. Parks was our superintendent. But anyway, I would get these teachers on the bus, and then I would have the bus driver go to each school, and then I would tell them things about how many classrooms are at this school and how many acres they have for their playgrounds and so forth, and a little history about things like the Hefner wing that was built at Jackson School. A lot of people don't know that, but they named it after Bill Hefner, who was a wonderful guy. And he was my boss when he was assistant superintendent, and I've never worked for a better man. But anyway, I would embellish some of the stories and make up things like how Indianola was named. I had a pretty good one about that. And when Mrs. Looney got here, she wanted to go, and I showed an old motel that we passed, and I told these new teachers, now Mrs. Looney has spent her honeymoon in room 4. And then she would say, you can't pay any attention to what he says.
I can't imagine Mrs. Looney and me.
And one of my better ones was when we would parallel the railroad tracks on the, Whitson, the old highway over there.
I never know the names of the streets in Selma, but.
So we were coming out to Terry, so I said, you know what, according to my watch, I said, in about 30 seconds, we're gonna meet the southbound Amtrak, and I said, anybody that wants to participate, I said, move to the right side of the bus, because this is gonna be a wonderful opportunity for a multiple mooning. And and anyway, years later, these teachers still remember the stuff that oh man, I remember going on Turpin's tour and some of the things you said.
Oh man, I'm so disappointed I missed out on that.
So, it wasn't...
did they bring them all the way out here to Terry, or did they skip Terry?
We brought them out to Terry, and of course then I would tell them about the history of Terry School, and this is where I almost live, because best, I was here 35 years, that was the best 35 years of my life.
Yeah.
And they would remember Terry School, and if you ask them where Terry School was, they would know. But a lot of those people that were teaching at the time wanted, hey, take us on that tour. And but I never did. But this year they reinstituted that thing, and Tim Smith, who's principal now over at Roosevelt, he did it. But they are going to call it, it's called Turpin's Tours forever, they said.
Yes.
And like Mr. Sutton said, well, I'm sure that Mr. Smith will clean it up a little bit. Don't point at Mr. Turpin. Yeah. But
won't be as fun.
no.
Now, what do you think about Terry that makes it? I mean, what is it? What is the magic of Terry? Because
Terry
there
School?
is a certain magic.
Well, I'll tell you what it was. When I came here, I knew a lot of the people in this community because of my mother's family.
Mm-hmm.
My mother went 8 years here, and so did her 2 brothers and her sister. And they lived on the first house just south of here. And so they had made friends with all these people out here. And when I applied for this job, there were men on the board that I knew.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that I really liked was it was the center of the community. And in the old days, before unification of all these schools, you had a small school. And that was the center for people. They would have potlucks.
Mm-hmm. We
you
did.
know?
I remember even in the 70s, I remember we had a lot of potlucks.
And you know, the people would come, and I knew everyone that came. I knew the parents of the students, and I could name them all. And it's just really a close-knit community. And you know, you didn't see many farms bought and sold. I mean,
you still don't.
You don't.
Actually.
I mean, the Silveras owned that property across the street, and for ever, you know, that I can remember.
Right.
And people that families that went to school with my mom's family, I still know them, and of course, most of those people are gone now. But
I think a lot of the houses do get handed down to people in the family too.
Yes.
Because, for instance, my house, I live in the house that I grew up in, and now teach here.
That's good.
I think that happens a lot. Sarah
It's
teaches here.
they're just good people.
Yeah.
They're just wonderful people out here.
Yeah.
And I had people would say, why do you stay in that little school out there? Don't you want to be a superintendent or something somewhere? I said, no, I have no desire to do that. I stay out here because I love being out here. I love the country. I went to school in the country, and I just love it.
Yeah. I think I think that you pretty much nailed it there.